Okay, says we're live. Hopefully we're working. What's happening, Fusion friends? Welcome to another live episode. I've got a fun live episode that I'm excited for tonight because we have a special guest. Luckily, I was able to get Scott in between shows. So, Scott, thank you very much for taking a few minutes and joining us tonight.
Debo, thank you so much. It's an honor to be on, brother.
For sure, dude. And of course, we have the real star of the show, Dizzle, down here. I thought we lost him to the old lady, but no, still here.
Hey, I would invite you to go fishing if you wanted to. You know,
I invite you to go tomorrow. Quit crying. So it looks like we're working. Somebody said, "Yep, Dizzle sighting." Okay, so I think audio and everything's working. I see we have people flowing in. So what's happening, everyone? Welcome to another live tonight. If you don't know Scott is with Spool Speed Bearings. So y'all have heard me talk about Scott before. I'm not sponsored by Spool Speed or anything. He's just a buddy of mine. And really, it started at Bassmaster Classic. Scott and I were just talking about this because it was is it Greenville?
It was in Greenville, yeah.
Yep.
Back in was it 17?
I think it was 2017 is when it was there.
17, 18, or even before, maybe. Yeah, well, 16 or 17, yeah.
Yeah, I think 17 is when it was. And funny enough, that's coming back there, so it's going to be here in just a couple months or whatever.
No, actually, a month. Not even a month.
Is it March?
Yeah, it's in March.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, they're going to be back there. So unfortunately, I will not. I'm not traveling or anything. Work has me locked down. But Scott and I met. And you all have probably heard the story. I was at the Bassmaster Classic, and my buddies Zach and Andrew from Looking for Fish were like, "Hey, we're going to go talk to Scott at Spool Speed." And I'm like, I had never even heard of you at that time.
Right.
As far as aftermarket bearings, Boca was the only thing I ever heard of, and I had never spent the money or done any of that. So we go over there, and I had been to probably, I would say, 10 booths before that, to other various booths. And the vibe that I got was like, at a lot of these booths, I was kind of a pain in their side. It was like I was a thorn for asking questions. And a lot of the booths I was kind of turned off at. Until I got to Scott's, and once me and Zach and Andrew started talking to him, it's like, oh yeah, play with some of the reels. He has reels; they're all decked out and polished up, and he's like, check this out, and spinning this this bearing on like a little chopstick tool thing, and this thing. He's like, yeah, that'll go for like a minute, and I'm like, I've never seen anything like this. So that was how we met. Scott was cool as hell to talk to. Took me through all the stuff. I had honestly very little knowledge of aftermarket bearings, so I appreciate you taking the time to talk on that, Scott. It goes to show what kind of guy you are and what kind of business you're running.
Well, thank you, brother. Matter of fact, that was one of our first shows. And it was really a unique situation because we were located directly across from Lou's. And very long story short, Lou's kind of got upset at our name. And
Lou's Speed Spool versus Spool Speed.
Think about it now. We had a line. I don't know if you remember this, but we had a line in front of our booth about 6 people deep all the way back. It was unbelievable. We had the whole Carolina Bass team with Patrick Walters, all those guys. We had the whole Clemson Bass team just handing bearings out as fast as we could. People were buying them up. And the Lou's guys were just sitting there with their arms crossed looking at us like, what in the heck is going on over there?
What this guy's giving away? Candy?
And they saw the name, and I don't know what happened. But, of course, a long story short, the CEO for Lou's at the time, Gary Remensnyder, gave me a call. We ended up being great friends. So all that went to the hills, and it's been a great relationship ever since.
I remember you saying that because he didn't live too far from you, right?
He lived 3 miles from me, the way the crow flies, and I had no idea. We had a bunch of mutual friends.
Yeah,
and I talk to him still. He lives in Crescent Beach now in Florida, and he's just retired up and having him a good old time.
Must be rough. Living.
It must be a rough life, huh? He did really well with that endeavor. He did.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, you can't be mad at that. I would tip.
No, you cannot.
Right now and just move to Florida and be good. But man, we've got a ton of people. We've already got almost 150 people in here. Everybody's saying look good, sound good. Debo and Diz. We got Scott. They say Debo, Diz, and Bo in here, which is funny.
All right.
Man, we've got a ton of people. Well, everybody, thank you for joining. So if you don't know about Spool High Speed Bearings, Scott, kind of give us the elevator speech of how you got started, what you all do, what your stuff is for anybody that doesn't know.
You know, a quick story, just a very quick story how it happened. Yeah. You can read our story in full on our website. But we went to a local sushi restaurant in Columbia, South Carolina that we normally go to all the time. And I went to sit down, and Rio, who is the owner of the restaurant, he said, "Scott, I'm going to ask you to sit over here a little bit and leave this space open." And I'm like, "Well, what's up?" He said, "Very important person." Well, turns out that very important person, he needed somebody to talk to that night. And he couldn't have found a better one because he loved bass fishing. He's the owner of a major, or actually the CEO of a major bearing company with plants in China, Japan, and Korea. So it's a huge bearing corporation. And after a few cups of sake, he said, "Scott," he says, "I love bass fishing." He said, "I would really love to get with you and develop a bass fishing bearing." And I'm like, "Well, that sounds amazing." And I didn't know if it was the sake talking or if it was him talking.
What were you doing at this time? Like, what was your job? Were you in
At
bearing
the
stuff or
time,
like
I
machining?
owned Sandlapper Cycles, which was a Harley dealership, sold Harleys, and we were doing well with it. But I always loved fishing. You knew that.
Yeah.
And I was speaking to this guy, and he said, "I'm going to have my sales manager call you at 8:00 in the morning." I said, "Well, great." And I'm thinking, yeah, as much sake as he's had, as much sake as I had, that he was feeding it to me. I said, "I kind of doubt my phone's going to ring." Sure enough, 7:59, phone rang. And long story short, we're now on our, I think, 40th bearing. So,
Wow,
and
that's
4
awesome.
different varieties of bearing. So it's been
crazy.
it's been a long ride. It's been fun. It's been exciting. It's been great for all of us.
And the bearings, I should have got a reel. I don't know if you have anything handy. I can grab one. But so if anybody, if you're not into like doing your reel maintenance or breaking open your reel, the bearings obviously depends on the reel, but usually you'll have like a spool bearing, a side plate bearing, and then when you see the statistics of X number of bearings on the reel, really there's only a couple that impact the cast. And that's
right.
really what your kind of the main part of your bearings are for. Of course, you can do a whole overhaul, but so what is the big significance or the what do you gain by putting in aftermarket bearings?
Well, we like to say it's a few things that really hits home base with most people. Number one, it lowers your backlash. You've got about a 25 to 30% lower backlash rate because the inertia required to get that spool in motion has been lowered significantly because of the lighter, faster ceramic bearing. It's that initial tug, as we all know, that gets that spool over spinning right at the beginning of your cast. And you either get it all out on the cast or you get that bad bird's nest.
Yeah.
And with ceramic bearings, you lower that probability. You're going to get further casts. You're going to get less effort doing your cast. You're going to be able to cast lighter lures. So there's a whole host of advantages by swapping over to ceramics. Not to mention, the install is easy as pie. We have 9-year-old kids doing it.
Yeah, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Heck, we'll get a video of Dizzle doing it, and we'll
I was just, I'm getting a little nervous here now. The last time I tried taking a reel apart, it didn't end well, and I think I cracked the side plate or something. It wasn't good.
Oh, you got it all taken apart and everything. You didn't know your He-Man strength when you tightened it up and you cracked the side plate.
Right.
A little tough getting it back together, was it?
Yeah, right.
Dizzle, I think you also gave me a reel that was missing some screws. You're like, "Can you fix this?" I took it apart, and I don't know what's going on with it.
I've given you like 17 reels, and you're just like, "Oh, I gave those back to you. Don't worry, there you have them now."
Yeah, and that's so kind of as Scott was talking about the different characteristics or what you gain from it. I did a video on Scott sent me some bearings after the show after we got talking. He's like, "Try some." He's like, "Just do an honest video, see what you think." And I think a lot of people believe that you put aftermarket bearings in, you're going to get 100 feet increase of distance. I didn't notice that. I got maybe 10 to 20 feet, I would say, increase of distance, which is good. But like Scott was saying, the biggest thing that I noticed was how much easier it was to cast and kind of that free spool in the middle. So if you have, you don't notice it as much, I would say, with a reel that has magnetic brakes because they're on all the time. But if you've got a reel with centrifugal brakes like a Shimano that's got the little deals that you have to move, I mean, you can hit that sweet spot in the middle and it just keeps going.
Oh, absolutely.
So
centrifugal brakes, they do, I guess, they accelerate the advantages you get from ceramics more so than magnetics. But I've got a bunch of dial zillions that we've tuned, and gosh, the new 21 zillion is amazing with our bearings, especially. Going back to Shimano, the DCs even. Now that's a whole different braking system. That digitally controlled braking system, the ceramics help it considerably. So it's not just centrifugal does it help, but I think you're right in saying that you see the biggest benefit with the centrifugal braking reels.
And, the inertia, kind of like Scott was talking about too. I didn't go like a whole gambit of different lures, but I always noticed just with like a weightless stick bait, for a lot of people, or a weightless fluke, a lot of folks, that's as low as they go, and they're not trying to cast a 1/8 ounce or a 1/16 ounce trout magnet. People just want something that's kind of light, or even some smaller like balsa crankbaits. There's something that's kind of a pain to throw too.
Yeah.
But with that, when you get that lighter line in that, what I mean by that spool startup of that inertia is you can just kind of flick it and just kind of goes. It just makes the job easier, is what I noticed.
I've noticed even like with a shad wrap, we know how hard a shad wrap is to cast, especially a 5. But you get a fairly light 100 series reel, put you some 10 to 12 pound test on it, and you can actually cast it like a spinning reel. So the bearings make a huge difference in that respect.
Yep. And so you said you've been on 40 different, I guess, bearing
sizes.
Yep. I thought you were saying you went through 40 different. I can't even think of the word.
Like trial and error.
Prototypes. There we go. Yes.
I bet we did go through 40 prototypes. We did go through a lot. We really did. I mean, we made the bearing, the retainers lighter. We made them heavier. We made them double. We made them ribbon style, made them crown style, did a bunch of different things. We chemically polished the races, things that other companies, I guess, don't really have first of all, getting someone that's into the fishing end of it. There's bearing companies, but they make a bearing that just so happens to fit the fishing reel. We make bearings that are for fishing reels specifically to do the things a fishing reel needs to do. You don't have a lot of outward load on a bearing in a fishing reel. You just don't. So you need one that spins freely. You need one that's fast. You need one that's very lightweight. And I think we've accomplished that with the different models we got. Now, speaking of that, DEBO'S, we got 2 new bearings in that we're ultra excited about. We got our new XP.
I haven't got to use those yet.
Got our new XP and our new XCR, which are JDM bearings. So this is Japanese domestic market bearings. And they're ultra fast, they're ultra smooth, and they're ultra quiet. A benefit you never really got before with ceramics.
Yeah, and that's one thing I know we were kind of talking about before. I didn't mind it at all because it's funny. People love the DC sound, the whee, like, it's cool. And then, like you were saying, I know people that would switch to ceramic bearings and be like, well, they're loud. I don't like it. It's like, and like we were saying before, a sports car isn't quiet, right?
A race car is not quiet. And believe me, if you're in a boat, the waves slapping against your boat is much more cumbersome to listen to all day than your reel casting.
Agreed.
So, if you're that persnickety, there's not a whole lot I can do. But once you start feeling that performance, I think you can put up with a little bit of the ceramic noise that you get.
Right. And with that change, so you said, I know Scott Sinclair too also said, don't oil them. I know that is a benefit. I don't know how the new bearings or what they're made of, but like the hybrid ceramics, one of the benefits is you don't have to even oil them. So
you do not
too much oil. You don't have to put any on.
Even our new bearings, you do not have to. And what people need to understand about lubing a ceramic bearing, first of all, it takes a certain kind of lube. We have a lube called MRP. It's a magnetic repulsion polarity lubricant. And what that means, if you've ever taken a magnet and taken two magnets.
I'm going to test you on this afterwards.
All right.
Okay, I'm trying to take mental notes here.
If you take 2 magnets and you turn the north poles together, what do? They repel each other. Well, that's what MRP does. It's a magnetic repulsion polarity lubricant. So it does that with friction. It repels the friction. And now the application rate is what's unique here. You take a stick pin, you put it in a drop of oil. Take you 1 drop out of that 5 milliliter tube we sell and put it on a piece of tin foil. You take a pin or a needle, you stick it in that drop. Then you rake it across the top race of the bearing. If you can see it enter the bearing, you've put too much.
Wow.
Jeez.
I mean, literally, one drop will lube 20 or 30 bearings. You will hear the
insane.
difference, but you won't see it go in there. But it actually goes at a molecular level, and it attracts to that metal and stays in that metal. The MRP does. So it's superior to having no oil, but you must know how to apply it. Over apply it, you've hurt things.
Less is more. Less
is more.
So
Yeah,
I actually have a question as it relates to the Fishing Daddies 401, or somewhat relates to it. Scott, I know when Debo first started talking about putting speed spools into different reels and things like that, I went out and I watched a bunch of your videos, and I noticed, like, in a lot of your videos, it's super high-end combos and things like that. Is it, I have to assume that, I mean, you're not taking a Pinto and turning it into a Ferrari, but you're getting as much, or would you even say more benefits out of taking, a lower dollar reel, putting the spools in, as it compares to like a higher dollar reel and putting the spools in?
That's a good question. And to answer that, we actually had some reels on our website, and it was a Lew's Mark Rose model, like a $40 reel.
Okay.
We had the Abu Black Max series, a $39 reel. You take those bearings that are in there out, put ceramics in it, and you literally would not believe the difference in that reel. I mean,
sure, yeah.
They cast so much better. Makes such a big difference.
I would have to assume, just like anything, I mean, to help those reels out would, night and day type of, thing. And that was one of the things that really kind of jumped out at me at first. I was like, I don't really fish those super high end reels. How would this really kind of help me out? And then Debo's like, no, it's not. That's not the case whatsoever. It's, you take the spools out of any reel, it doesn't matter the price point, and you're getting a benefit from it.
Absolutely. You change those bearings out, you're going to get a benefit. But, it does. It's kind of like anything else. The more money you spend, generally, the better product you get, and the better it works. Our bearings do work better with more expensive reels. There's no doubt about it. It really makes an expensive reel so much better, because, and the main reason for this, and listen to me good here, is these expensive reels at one time had nice Japanese or Swiss bearings in them.
That's what I was going to bring up too. Yeah, a lot of the expensive ones already have,
they did at one time, but now that's no longer the case. These real nice bearings, real nice reels, aside from like a Metanium or something like that, they still have pretty decent bearings in them. But some of these nicer reels have Chinese bearings in them. So you get a big performance benefit with the expensive reels with the bearings, just as you would with a lower price reel.
So I'm a little bit different guy than what Debo is. I feel like he's a little bit more of a, I'm going to buy a new car every year type of guy when it comes to his fishing reels. My jig reels.
Let's get that straight. I drove an HHR for 12 years.
It was an example there, Debo. So my jig reel, my go-to method of fishing is jig fishing. I've had a Revo winch, probably pushing 20 years now.
Right.
So if I were to throw a set of these spools in there, or had I thrown a set of those spools in there, say 20 years ago, if you were selling them then, how long are your spools lasting for? Are they, with minimal maintenance, you can get, like, how many years would you say out of a set of spools?
A set of bearings will generally last the life of 4 or 5 reels, as long as you want to keep them. Yeah, I've yet to see somebody wear a bearing out. Yeah,
unless you're in salt water or somewhere they would.
Sure.
If you're in salt and you let the salt stay on those races, they can rust.
Yeah.
I do also have to throw a little asterisk in there. I think I just cleaned that Revo this last year. So 2021 is the first time I think I've ever cleaned it.
Right.
So maybe I'm not, the best person to, say something like that too, because
you probably notice a huge difference, because those other bearings are probably locked up tight with old 37-year-old grease.
Yeah, I'm sure they're gummed up. Yeah.
So Scott, here's a good question from my guy Arthur. And Arthur, if everybody remembers, he's the guy that was nice enough to send me the Bluetooth adapter. Arthur, I'm sorry, I've still got the old ones that aren't wireless. I literally just got home. I was out with Mr. Rundle ice fishing. So he has a good question. He said, I've got a quick question here. Which reel would benefit the best from bearings? Like a bigger, heavier swim bait reel or a lighter reel for like more finesse, smaller baits?
Okay, if I had to answer that to where it made the most sense to me, I would say the lighter one. Okay, because keep in mind the inertia, getting that spool into rotation. Lighter lures that they need that with the ceramics. You know what I mean? The ceramics allow lighter lures to cast further. Heavier lures, they're going to really cast any bearing out there. But let me add something to this, and this was really an eye opener for me at this Massachusetts show. This was more or less, this New England show was a swim bait show. You know, Mike Bucca was there, and Piz was there, and all these swim bait manufacturers, and that's really what the people, you know, all the guys on Swim Bait Universe and everything, they were all there. Swim Bait Universe was there. And you should have seen the guys tuning those 300 series reels. I couldn't tell you how many Tatula 300s I did. Matter of fact, Zach's Custom Rods was there, and I bought a beautiful, it's a $650 Century blank rod. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's got abalone all in it and everything. And he built all these rods for the swim bait people. So I said, you know what? I'm going to get me I got me a few Piz swim baits, and I've had some of Mike Bucca's forever, the bull shads. But I figured I'd get me one nice outfit. So I went and found me a nice 300 series reel, and I put our bearings in it. And I noticed a huge performance difference. The guy at that runs Swim Bait Universe, he said, Scott, he said, I want you to do mine up. He brought me his 300. I did his up. And he's like, dude, I can't believe the performance difference. This is amazing. So all these guys are tuning up these heavy reels. They really are.
Yeah, they're definitely into I haven't gotten into the Japanese stuff, but you notice a lot of these guys are putting on like these crazy Japanese handles, and like everybody's doing like tricking out these swim bait rods and reels. So that makes sense to me. I can see that.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you how many of these rascals this are 110 millimeter ceramic.
I grabbed mine. I was going to talk about that. Yep. Yeah. So people have seen me use this. This was on my frog and reel a couple years ago. Last year I switched out, but ran those for a couple years. Between these and the Gomexus, like Scott and I were talking about before, these are my absolute two favorites. And the biggest thing with these that I can't tell people enough is it has a long knob. So the 110, the size of the actual handle is great, you know, for torquing on stuff and getting stuff out. But to me, the big difference maker is this thing. Having that long handle when you're actually wrenching them out or setting the hook, I mean, you've got plenty of room there, because I can't tell you how many times setting a frog hook with like the short handles, I would scrape my knuckles. And having the actual knob that's longer that sticks out makes such a huge difference. So yeah, I would certainly recommend these. People seem to use those. But yeah, you've got those. And I know you've got like some of the other all metal ones. I personally am not a fan of those. I don't like the all metal. To me, they're not comfortable, but
well, a lot of people like to bling out their reel. You know, they want them matching, and a lot of people use them for different gear ratios and so forth. I'm a fan of this one. You know, I actually went to Korea to the Cocos factory, sat down on the CAD machines, and designed this handle from front to back. Triple butted the stems, put our bearings in the stems. I designed the paddle. I designed the density of the EVA, similar to cork. It's a very, very firm density. It's 12 layers of carbon, even has a stainless steel washer that's embedded into the carbon that you tighten your reel down onto, so you're not tightening it into the carbon. Because as we know, carbon will compress over time and it will loosen up. So that stainless steel washer stops that. And guys, we got these on the website. Going to offer everybody on the show a Spool 20 discount. So
hey, cool.
Write that down. Spool 20. Everybody on the show gets a discount. That's on our bearings too. So you go to spoolspeed.com. And one thing I wanted to tell you guys about
SPOOL 20.
SPOOL 20.
Right,
and that's going to be a capital S. So capital SPOOL 20. And when you put that in, fellas, do it all one word. So don't put a space to the 20. And I wanted to show you this. I don't know if you can see it. This is our new XCR Ultra bearing.
Here, let me
Guys,
make
this
it
has
bigger.
the peak retainers. That's a polyether ether ketone race on this bearing. We're the only ones in the industry that has it. It's ABEC 9 intolerance. And you talk about a fast bearing. We're selling these worldwide right now. Malaysia, Belgium, you name it, Singapore. We're getting orders from places that
Wow.
we don't even know how to pronounce.
Speaking
It's
of,
been
Randy, you're
exciting.
taking notes, aren't you? Did you get what those races were made out of?
The what? The anti-magnetic reverses?
No, we're not back on MRP. Randy.
No, we're talking
Oh
about
no.
peak. Peak material is pretty common. It's a
Oh,
polyether ether ketone.
Oh, okay.
oh yeah, that one.
That
See,
one.
what I'm trying to what I'm trying to do right now is I'm actually looking. I've gone out to the I've gone out to Google and I looked up the Abu Garcia Revo Toro winch baitcaster that went out of production in like 97 or something like that. But I have two of them that I still use. And I'm trying to figure out which gears I buy or which gears that I would need for that. Is there like a easy I'm not a real smart guy when it comes to a lot of things. I'm like, if it doesn't work, grab a bigger hammer type of guy.
Right.
So how do I go about using, because I'm looking at the website also, and I see a lot of different things.
Well,
Usually what I would do right now is I'd be like, hey, Debo, what do I need to get?
I'm so glad you asked that question because it's the most simple thing in the world to do. If you look at our website, if you go to spoolspeed.com and you look at the very first sentence on the website, the very first sentence, it says, go to the little search button, which is the magnifying glass, and type in your real name. And it will populate automatically all the bearings that fit your reel. So it's the easiest website you could ever use. Some people try to complicate it, and it's just very, very easy.
It's like that old.
Says you
It's
need to
like
bust
that
out your
test.
bearing measuring tool, Randy.
I have a couple actually, but it's like that test that you got, in high school or whatever. It's like the teacher always says, make sure and read all the directions before moving on with the test, and you read all the directions, and usually the majority of people are like get to number 6 or 7, and they look all the way down to the 15 or 20, and it's like don't do anything, just read the directions and wait for the test to be over, type of thing.
Right.
I see what you
That's
guys
kind of
did
how
there.
these bearings are. If you do what the first sentence on that website tells you to do, you type in Revo, you type in Tatula, you type in Metanium, you type in Lexa, you type in whatever you've got, guys, and it's going to populate your kits right there. All you've got to know about our website is there's 4 styles of ceramics we offer. Number 1's the SS. That's our tried and true ABEC 7 ceramic, been around forever. It's got crown retainers. Then our XS, that's our second model, XS. XS means sealed. It is a sealed bearing. So it does have stainless steel seals, but they're no friction seals. So that bearing will spin forever. It does have ribbon retainers. Then you go to our XP. You're getting into the Japanese bearing. The XP is an ABEC 9 bearing, gone to an S20 ball. The ceramic balls are measured, their roundness is measured by an S factor, anything from an S10 to an S20, or actually an S30. And when you go to our last bearing, the XCR Ultra, you're getting that peak retainer. That's the polyether ether ketone retainer. Makes the bearing ultra quiet. It's a bearing with about a 700-degree melting point. It's space age technology wrapped up into this bearing, guys. It's ABEC 9. It's fast. It's the newest thing we offer, and I don't see how we could ever top this bearing. It's the highest quality bearing I've ever used in my entire life.
I'm going to purchase a pair of those. What?
And I've used bearings from everywhere.
What's that, like a pack of those cost? Like I would say in most reels, is it like a 2-pack for the handle and then probably your spool bearing on most of them?
Well, if you do like a Shimano, most Shimanos are going to have 2 3x10x4 bearings. They're going to be on each end of the spool, under your tension knob, right there by your star drag, and on your end cap, which you remove to access your spool. You pop them in with 2 simple retainer clips. It's a 2-minute process to put them in. So a pack of those in XCR for a Shimano reel is $30. For a Lew's reel, Now, a Lew's reel has those two end bearings we just spoke about with Shimano, but Lew's also has a spool shaft bearing. Okay, that spool shaft has a pin on the spool shaft that must be pushed. It's a tapered pin. So there's a wide end and there's a thin end. We push it from the thin end out. Only makes sense. You would push it in from the thin end first. So when you push it out, you push it by the thin end out. Most people remove them with pliers.
The thick end, right?
Yeah. Most people remove them with pliers. We've also got these on the website now, pin removal tools. So this pin removal tool will help you get that pin out if you ever have one that's stuck or have a problem. So that makes life really easy too. These are $20 on the website.
20. Yeah, because I know when I first did it, I didn't buy a tool. I got like a pair of channel locks. You just have to be very, very careful that you keep it straight, because once you bend that spool pin, you're done.
If you use a whole lot of common sense and a little bit of force instead of a lot of force and a little bit of common sense, you're not going to have a problem, even with channel locks.
Debo, when my order comes in, I'm going to come and have you do it for me.
Hey, buy you a pin tool.
I bought one of the old Bocas, and I've actually got one like that from another company. I didn't know you guys were selling them. And that one's super easy to use. That one's so much easier because it's straight in line. You just twist it and done.
The difference that we made in this style pin pusher, guys, is the end of it right here, which has the pushing pin, which pushes your pin. It's replaceable and comes with 3 extras. So
nice.
If you see that small end right there, so that's the part that bends on these. And this tool actually comes with extras. So if you do bend it, no fear, pull it right out with a pair of pliers, stick the new one in, and go back to town, working on your reels. It's even got a handy cup. That little cup houses your pin once you push it out so you don't lose it.
I just grabbed one of my Lew's reels just to show people. So what he's talking about, what that's for, is when you're replacing the spool bearing. So that's the one here. And I did a whole video on this back, gosh, that's been like 2017 or 2018 when I got the first pair of Scott's bearings. But that's the pin you're taking out. I'll make myself bigger here. That's what that tool is for, is you've got a bearing inside here on your spool, and that little tiny pin.
Yeah, you can see it right there.
Hiding right there. That's what you're taking out. Look how dirty this reel is. This one I use for frogging. Gross.
That's clean. What are you talking about?
But yeah, that's the one you're taking out. That's what you would need that tool for. So just be very careful. That pin can get bent pretty easy. And is the cost the same for like a Shimano pack versus a Lew's or a Black Max pack? Because I'm assuming those are all the same, like the Doyo reels.
Yeah, most of your Doyo reels, Lew's and Abu, most of you guys know that's a Doyo reel. They're made in the Doyo factory. Lew's and Abu both use that factory to make their reels. It takes actually 3 bearings. So you have one on your end cap. You have one on your spool shaft, which is your 5x11. That's your end cap, your removable end cap. That's to access the spool. Then you have one on the other side. If you hold that reel up, Debo,
I'm getting it. Hold on. There we go. Right in there, I guess.
There you go, on your tensioner side. There you go. He took the cap off, and you can see that bearing sitting right there. So generally, those 2 end bearings are the same. And the one on the spool shaft is slightly larger. It's a 5x11x4. Now, all your Quantums are this way. Your Daiwas are this way, except some of your newer ones, like your Zillion doesn't have it. But well, it does have it, but it's not a 5x11x4. It's a 3x10x4. But it does have the pin. But just about none of your Shimanos, other than a Bantam and the newer Metaniums, the silver, the all bright silver Metanium, and the new Metanium B, they do have the spool shaft bearing. The older 13 Metanium does not.
Are those all the same cost, like for the Lew's that has the 3 versus the Shimano?
No, Lew's are going to cost you anywhere from $25 to $45 a kit, because it does have an extra bearing.
Depending on which one you get. Yeah.
Right. Depending on which model bearing you get.
Let's see. Let's jump into the questions. I know we got some questions on cost, so he's covered that. And like Scott said, which is super cool that he did. So how long will this last for, Scott? Spool 20 will give people 20% off. Is that right?
It'll give them 20% off, and I'm
Wow.
going to leave that up throughout the fishing season through the spring here.
Oh,
So
wow.
you guys got a little while,
Wow.
maybe up until March, through
Cool.
March. Okay. The boss just said through the Bassmasters Classic. So
Perfect.
there you go.
All right. Well, cool. Thank you.
That'll
Let's-
give all you guys a discount on your pin pullers, everything. So whatever
Yep.
you order, use that code.
Awesome. Okay, yeah. So I put it on the bottom of the screen, folks. If you go onto the Spool Speed website, and I'll link that in the video description below. It's easier to do that way. You go into his website or to the Spool Speed website. You use I'm assuming, does it say like promotion code or like enter your discount code or whatever, something like that?
Now see that code that you've got there, Spool
Yeah.
20. It's actually a large S. It's the capital S, then small POOL. So
okay. So it is case specific.
Yeah, it is case specific.
Oh crap. Well, see
And
here.
and there might be a way we can fix that later on and make it take both. I'll just have to work with Shopify and see what we can get done there.
Okay, so big S, spool, and then 20.
Yep, big SPOOL. There you go. That's
Cool.
the way we enter it.
Well, thank you, Scott.
You're
Let's see.
very
What other
welcome.
questions do we have? So that's nice of you to do that. If there's any questions on stuff, if anybody's thinking about them, what do we got? Randy, do you have a question?
So no, I don't necessarily have a question, but I do have, a statement or a comment. I've like fully engaged in online shopping right now while you guys are having this conversation and, kind of talking in my ear at the same time. But like realistically, I'm blown away. So I have a Concept C 13 fishing. It's a really nice reel, but I've always wanted to do a little bit extra stuff to it.
Yep.
I go out to 13 fishing and I look at the stuff out there, and it's ridiculously expensive to do all
You
these
talking about the
upgrades and
trick
different
shop
things.
components?
Yes. And I'm looking here and I'm looking at the spool kit. It's $18. But it's $18. I feel like if I were to go to the 13 Fishing website, it's going to be like so much more out there. I was honestly blown away. I've never talked to Debo about prices or anything like that for any of the spool kits or anything like that.
Are you on Scott's website or are you on the 13 website?
I'm on the actual the Speed Spool website.
Oh, okay.
And
Spool Speed, yep.
and yep, everything out there
who's
is
going to be knocking on your door, Randy?
everything sorry, everything out there is very, very, very reasonably priced. Like
we try hard to keep it reasonably priced, as reasonable as we can. We've got the best price ceramics in the industry, and then when you go to our ABEC 9 Japanese bearings, we still keep those affordable. So it's one of them things where you want to build your business quick, gain a lot of customers. And if you look at what our customers say about us, we really try hard to give you the best customer service we can give you and give you the best quality bearing. If you have a bearing that ever fails for me, it's going to be replaced free of charge. You'll never have to worry about that. And to tell you the truth, Debo, I don't think I've replaced a bearing due to a manufacturing defect. I've had a customer damage one, maybe trying to push the pin back, the clip back in with a sharp tool and damage a retainer or something like that. But the bearings just do not fail.
And what are yours all made in Korea, or where's your
actually we've got Korean versions and we've got JDM.
The JDM new
made in Japan.
I did actually have
the orders, guys. I don't know if you see me swiping up this screen. The orders are coming in steadily. I don't know if it's you guys on here with Debo, but it's going nuts right now. I'm doing this the whole time. So if you see me doing that, I'm swiping my notifications up for orders.
That's awesome. I did have a question as far as your handles. Personally, I don't like the flat-sided handles. I like more of the rounded wind grip handles.
Right.
I did see something on there where you have like a non-grip handle that you sell.
I do.
So are those? It's fairly easy just to throw like a set of wind grips on there compared to like a flat-sided and things like that. Or
I wish it were. Let me explain how that works.
Okay.
That handle, that is our Bear handle. That's our Bear carbon handle without the paddles. It accepts either Daiwa paddles or Shimano paddles. So you cannot put
Okay.
a luge paddle on that handle. What we did for the luge customers that really like that round is when we designed our big paddle here, we designed it round and flat. So I've
Sure.
never seen anybody that liked the round only that didn't just love this paddle also. But it also appeases the people that like a flat paddle. So that's why we
Yeah,
offer this one.
I want to say,
I'll show
Debo,
you. So I've
I've
used the.
casted some before, right?
I don't know.
Yours with
Yes,
some
these
handles in
are
there.
also if people just want like a cheap real deal. If you don't like the flat ones, these wind ones are nice. They're only like I don't know, $10, $12,
Yeah.
something like that. If
Yeah.
you like something a little fatter, because I'm like Randy, I don't like the ones that are like completely flat. So this is the difference between a regular luge, wherever my camera's at, a regular luge versus Scott. So you can see a big difference in thickness.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
okay.
you can see that
And
that's
this way.
if you like
Yeah.
a round paddle, you'll like this paddle also. It
Yeah.
kind of does both. It tackles
Okay.
both of them.
It's girthy. As if Hank were on here, he'd say it's kind of a girthy paddle.
It is a girthy paddle.
Hey, Debo, you want to throw one of those handles on a lefty and see
I
how
got
it
you,
goes
homie.
for me?
I got one for you. Actually, that one is for you.
Perfect.
I always buy in doubles so I can take care of Randizzle. Nick's in here, Fat Boy Fishing. I did see Jim was in here too. Jim Tackle Junkie. I don't know if he's still here. Good dude. Adam Colley. Adam actually met at the exact same show that I met Scott at.
Yep.
Adam came over to talk to me. Good dude.
Adam's a good dude. I know Adam.
He is. Yep. Real integrity. Good cat. Let's see. There were some other questions coming in. So I think David and then Ronald. So Ronald said, can anybody recommend a better lube than rim oil? I've never used rim oil on my reels. I suppose you could, but I think the fishing reel oil is a little bit thinner. And I'm not talking about bearings, Scott. I'm just talking about like, tiny bits, like if you run oil on your worm gear and stuff. But I would get like a fishing reel oil.
Yeah,
Hey, while you're getting this discount, guys, use it. Go to our website and get you some MRP. I've got the best fishing oil lubricant on the market. Magnetic repulsion polarity lubricant. We've got the grease kits also. So we got the oil and the grease.
Yeah, the tip on those little bottles, the little metal kind of syringe looking tip, those are perfect. I know
mine has that.
I've used rim oil in the past, and it just kind of goes where it's going to go. With those little, the syringe or the metal tips, you can really pinpoint where you're going to put those drops of oil or half drops or whatever you want to put on there. I would definitely go with something more specific or more micro application, I guess, than what like a rim oil would be.
Yeah, I agree. And rim might be. Timothy Proudfoot said it's pretty thin and nice. I've never used it. Maybe it would work, but I would just say whatever oil you're using, less is more. Same thing when you're greasing it up. You don't want to just get it globbed on there, because once you get too much on there, it gums it up. It grabs dirt. Less is definitely more. Whatever you're using. What else? I had a question. Chris said, do the bearings come pre-lube? So we kind of talked about that. The hybrid bearings, you don't have to actually run any lubricant on them, which is a nice deal.
Yep. They come dry. They come dry. You can use them dry. You do not have to lube them whatsoever. Matter of fact, we prefer that people don't lube them. That way you don't over lube them. Because if you over lube a ceramic bearing, all you're going to do is slow it down.
And especially don't over lube those girthy handles. Then you're in a world of trouble.
The handles do come lubed, so you don't ever have to worry about those.
Let's see. So we had a couple questions about that. Yeah, Penn. Randall Pink Floyd said he uses Penn Real Oil. Lucas Oil has some new nice ones that have those, like Randy's talking about, like the needle points. Mine is, I don't even remember what the hell oil I have.
Don't you usually get like a little tiny bottle with like reels, or that?
Oh yeah, I still use the free stuff. Yeah, I still use the free stuff.
But those don't have. They don't have the pinpoint tip on them. They have just like kind of like an eyedropper, like a.
But keep in mind, we're talking about using this stuff for the level wind or your handle bearings. Yes. I wouldn't put any of that on the bearings, guys.
Right. Yeah.
Bearings require a very, very thin viscosity lubricant, and you will not beat the MRP. If you buy MRP lubricant from us and you don't like it, I'll refund your money. It's the best lubricant I've ever used for bearings, period. whether they be factory bearings or ceramic.
Cool.
Yeah, I know me personally, I've had to hand my reel over to Debo before because I went crazy on trying to lube up one of my reels, and it just wasn't it wasn't slipping, it was just it was weird. It wasn't working correctly. And Debo's like, "You big dummy, what are you doing with all this?"
I didn't say
he tips the reel over and like the lube
It starts
just
pouring out.
of there.
I just poured all the oil out. Yeah, it was a little bit too much oil in the anti-reverse, which is okay because, dude, I made all the exact same mistakes, and that's the only way you learn is by getting.
That's right.
Like, there's no course on this stuff that you can go, do in college. You just start messing with it. So it's, dude, I've made all the exact same mistakes as you. Forgetting lube, forgetting to lube spots. I'm like, why is this so grindy? Oh yeah, I forgot to put grease here or whatever. Mark, good question. Can all bushings get replaced with bearings?
Yes, we can replace the bushings with bearings on 90% of the reels. Like, guys, remember the round Calcuttas?
Yep.
The Shimano Calcuttas.
Swimbait reel right there.
Okay, well, and there's smaller ones, even in the 100 series and even a 50 series. So they've got them small enough for ultralight lures. But a lot of those reels have an 11, it's a 5 by 11 by 3 on that shaft. And most of them are plastic bushings. They got the same pin there. So you use this little tool, get that pin out and get that bushing out of there, put a real bearing on it. And you talk, why they didn't put a real bearing there in the first place is beyond me. I don't know why they would not do that. A lot of your handles, guys, with your Daiwas especially, and some of your Shimanos, like all your Corrados, they got white plastic 4x7 by 2.5 bushings in those handles. To get the paddle off, guys, all you do is take your paddle right here at the end of it. That just it's a cover that just pops off. You can stick a chopstick or anything and just pop that cover off and look down in there, and you'll see a Phillips head screwdriver. Take it, loosen it off, and pull your paddle right off, and you'll find those plastic bushings. You can go on the website. We've actually got a handle pack of bearings that you can use, or you can ceramic it out, man, and put ceramics and make it spin till eternity. It's a 4x7 by 2.5 sizing on all Shimano Daiwa reels. Lew's takes a little bigger one.
And you can find that by searching. If anybody's new in here, Scott was talking about earlier, if you go to his website and just search in the search bar, if you're looking to put in a Lew's reel, a 13 reel, Shimano, whatever it is, you just search in there. Because there's also a couple people saying, I'm kind of scared to do this. You don't actually have to crack open the gear side plate, your handle side plate.
No, you don't, guys.
Bearings. It's just your. And this is a Lew's, for example, but it's going to be your.
Look, you can see the bearing right there.
You're going to take out your spool, which a lot of people do to put line on it anyway. You've got a bearing there, and then you just take off your spool tension cap right here, and it's accessible from the outside. So none of it, you don't have to get into the scary stuff to replace them. And I'll probably do another video on it I love to tinker anyway. Maybe
you did a good video that time. People love to complicate it, but guys, we've got 9-year-olds doing it. It is so simple. I mean, it really is. Don't overcomplicate it.
And then Adam had a good question here. So handles, and there are some companies that run that way. Scott, I don't think yours is because it's just a universal handle with no tightening nut or anything. Left-handed versus right-handed, your handle won't matter. Now, I don't know about your other ones, but this one, it doesn't matter if you're a lefty or
left
righty.
Or righty, doesn't matter. Some of our handles do come with nuts, and they come with the left and right-handed nut. So that's the only difference in a left and a right reel. If you've got a left-handed reel, guys, and you want to take that nut off, you actually have reverse threads on that nut.
Yep. So there are some aftermarket handles where you have to check that, the left versus right. But Scott's, you use the like for these, for example, you just use the nut that's already on your reel, take this handle off, and then just put your same nut right back on. So,
and if you guys ever need nuts, we got them. We've got them on the website. You give me a call, we'll get you hooked up.
It took me way too long to figure out reverse threading.
And the same
too much damage.
I have some lefty reels that even the end caps where they have like the metal thing inside, those are even reverse threaded on a left-handed reel.
Yep.
Which I thought was weird as hell. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that. But I haven't seen anybody asking about, like the price and stuff in here. I've seen people talk about that on forums like, oh, that's so expensive. Why would you do that on, a $50, $100 reel? The other thing to remember is, this is a performance part. So it's just kind of an aftermarket thing. If you like putting on an aftermarket handle, if you want your reel to run a little bit smoother or get a little bit more inertia, does it mean everybody has to have these? Do you need it on your Blackbacks to go fishing? Absolutely not. But that's the cool thing about it is, you're tricking out your stuff. You can make them run a little bit smoother, easier to cast. But by no means would we ever say, and Scott, I guarantee would tell you the exact same, is this a must? Do I have to have it to fish better?
No. You don't have to have them at all.
Right.
But it's just a performance item out there. It's just like an exhaust on your truck. You don't have to have that exhaust, but is it fun sometimes and exciting to have and more performance? Absolutely.
Exactly.
Bigger wheels and tires, stuff like that. Everything I've ever had,
I've
tinkered with. Everything I've ever had, I've got to make it more performance. As a kid, I was always that way, from bicycles to everything else. And why should I be any different with my fishing reels?
Yep, and especially once I started getting into handles, like the handles really do make a difference, because if you look at like a Lew's is what, 90? I think these are 90 millimeter handles versus, you just get so much more torque. It just feels so much easier to turn. I know a lot of people that don't like these. My dad doesn't like a huge handle. Oops, I'm not even in screen. My dad doesn't even like a huge handle, so it's completely personal, but I love the larger handle.
Yeah, I like that 110. It makes a big difference. It really does.
Yep, I agree. Especially anything that you're setting the hook hard on, like frogging, jigs, Texas rigs, I think is where it really can play.
And Debo, I want to touch on another thing that my wife just mentioned, which is important for our viewers to know. Guys, if you ever take a ceramic bearing and put it in your reel that has had a factory bearing, sometimes you'll have residual oil in that cup where that bearing fits, or in the reel. And residual oil and grease can get in the bearings and slow them down. If it does, no problem. Go to Walmart. They got a can of red can. It's in a red can. It's called Brake Clean. It's in the automotive section. It's $2 and I think 85 cents. Now it's probably gone up $5 by now. Who knows with the way prices
$20 now.
But it's very cheap. It's a red can. It'll last you forever. Spray that bearing out. Put it on a chopstick and just spin it and spray it, and it'll get all that gook out of there. Make them freed up, make them feel brand new.
Yep, and that was actually what you recommended me when I talked to Scott at the show. Because I was never a person that cleaned my bearings or anything. Because honestly, you don't need to if you're running stock bearings. The grease inside those, it's
that's why they're slow stock bearings, because they're caked in grease. They're loaded with grease. So they're
probably something you don't need to clean. But with those, like he's saying, if you want to keep them running free,
here's a can of that, guys. If you want to see what it looks like, it's made by CRC.
Yeah, and make sure you get the one in the red can, not the one, because there's one that has like a lithium oil something lubricant in it.
Yeah, you want this red can. The green one will. This red one, you can spray the bearings in your reel if you had to. It does not hurt the finish of your reel. If you get the green one, it'll attack the plastics, so you got to be careful.
Hey, Debo, can I answer this question right here that you popped up here?
That old bastard, my guy from Oklahoma, always catching toads. Look at even his picture. Good dude. He's always out catching big fish.
So this is me. I'm, I consider myself kind of, basic guy. Get a bigger hammer, make it work kind of thing. I went out to the website and, I'm Scott, I'm not trying to, toot your horn or anything like that, but I literally put in old green Corrado, and the first thing that came up is a Shimano Corrado CU 200-201 series, parentheses, old green. So like, you're right. When you use the search, it's going to take you to what you need,
It will.
If you have it, it's out there, and it takes you right to it. So,
well, I appreciate that.
It's pretty awesome.
My wife says, "Thank you very much." We worked very hard on all those keywords, putting them in there. So, sometimes we'll get messages from Shopify that says you have some new search terms your customers are using, and a lot of times they'll spell dial wrong or something like that. So we've even done that. We put dial.
You put in the wrong spellings of it.
Yeah, anything to help you find the correct kit, guys.
Oh, geez.
that old bastard, I didn't think I answered his question. I just popped it off. He said, so just, I have some old green Corrado 200 and 100s. I'm able to find purchase the larger. Yeah. So on those, do you have broke out, because it's either a 7 or an 8? Is that right? Millimeter or centimeter or millimeter or something.
Okay.
Meter.
That is,
And
it's got a 4x7 shaft. So it does come with a shim for that reel.
Yeah. So the actual handle is bigger inside for like the Abu Daiwa. Is Daiwa the same 8?
Yep, they're 5x8. The actual handle will fit that, but that shim will make it fit all Shimano and all 13 fishing.
Gotcha. Yep. So there's a little metal shim you'll put inside your handle and put that on. So yeah, it should fit either one of those. Even the old ones, are the old ones the 7 millimeter? Okay.
Same
so,
way.
Yep, you'd be good. Aiden asked, what would you recommend out of the spool speed bearing kits? So do you have, if you get a kit for Lew's, because I remember on mine, I don't remember, do they come in like 2 packs or 3 packs, or do you have like, how does that work? If you just have the reel, is it just like a casting kit? I'm not looking at it now, but versus like a whole upgrade kit?
Right. Well, we have what's called a Lew's full tune-up, which does your pinion supports and your level wind bearings and, all your internals. But guys, the main thing that you're looking to do is get that better casting performance where you can cast lighter lures, less effort, cast a little further distance. That's going to come from your spool kit. Your Lew's is going to be a 3-bearing kit. Your Shimano is a 2-bearing kit. So all those kits.
Are those just called like casting kits, or what are the
spool kits? Basically, it'll be spool. Like if you look up Shimano spool kit, it'll fit a host of Shimano reels.
Here's a good one. Travis Bruno's going down a hole that I'm not convinced with yet. Scott, are you into BFS reels at all?
Actually, believe it or not, I've got a lot of BFS reels because I do cast some light lures. We got some real clear deep water at Murray, and sometimes we have to have that kind of presentation when I'm not shaky head fishing or something like that. So I do use BFS reels. A lot of the Aldebarans will take a 3x7x3. We have that size on the website. And guys, keep this in mind. What a lot of your Chinese BFS reels have done is they've taken a 3x10x4 size bearing and sized it down with a steel case. So it takes a 3x8x4 bearing, which is a smaller bearing and a lighter bearing. So the general idea is that you can get that spool RPM rotation up faster with the smaller bearing. Well, we've also found we can do that with the XCR bearing, because what we've done, we've lessened the weight of that whole bearing with the peak material, that polyether ether ketone I was telling you about. So that particular bearing could be used as a BFS bearing in its normal size.
Just real quick before we move on here, is that picture of Travis holding, that's a crappie, right?
It looks like a crappie, yeah. That's a
that looks like that thing is massive.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
What else do we have? Man, questions are flying through. I'm trying to keep up. G-Man is fishing. Became a member. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate all my members out there. What else do we have? So stock. Chester says, so stock stuff sucks. No, Chester, we answered that already. It doesn't mean that the reels, I use, most of my reels actually are not performance upgraded. I don't change the bearings in most of my reels. I bought a few kits from Scott. No, absolutely not. Stock reels are completely fine. I think we had a few people saying it's upgrading reels like a hot rod, for people who like to tinker to try to get a little bit more distance, cast lighter lures. So no, not at all. Stock reels don't suck.
Hey, go up a little bit from that question or the statement. So stock stuff sucks. Hammer, he has a question or a statement. A question. It starts out with, I notice you have reel grease. Hammer?
I notice you have reel grease.
And how do you recommend applying? It's at 826. That helps.
You're talking about reel grease?
Yeah. So he says,
Hammer.
you found it?
Yeah. Okay, I noticed you have reel grease. How do you recommend applying to the gears, and how often should you reapply? Also, what solvents do you recommend to clean out the old to apply a fresh coat?
Okay, we just spoke about that solvent, the Brake Clean from Walmart in the red can. You can't get any better solvent or cleaner than that. Some people like to use lighter fluid to clean their bearings. Don't do it. Use Brake Clean. It's much better. Now, to answer his other question, the grease. The grease should be applied to the main gear and to the level wind only. Some people like to put an oil in the level wind. I like to put our grease. The Spool Speed grease is a very light grease. It's a fishing reel specific grease. It's not stuff you grab to pack wheel bearings with. It's a very light MRP grease. It's green. The viscosity is very thin. And we take a dabber and just put it in the level wind, and we put it on the main gear. Some reels like Lou's even have a greasing port. You take one Phillips head screw out. There's a little cover that'll pop right off, and you can access that main gear without even taking the handle off and taking that side cover off.
Yeah, and that's to reapply kind of in between. One thing I'll say just to make that easier, I always just remember grease on gears. If it's a gear, it gets grease.
Bearings do not get grease under any circumstances.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty important question. Just, especially go back to me being a bigger hammer type of guy. It's, beat it into my head that don't overdo it. You overdo it, you're gonna have a bad time. Don't overdo it.
I appreciate him asking that question. That does clarify it for some people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as far as like cleaning, I mean, the more the better. I know there's people that don't clean it for years. I like to do twice a year. Now, lately I've been really bad about that. So even if once a year, I mean, the more you take care of your gear, the more it's going to take care of you. So
it's a great time to do it. A lot of you guys got hard water right now, and it's a perfect time to go in there and take care of your arsenal.
DEBO ice fishing.
Yeah, DEBO ice fishing. I mean, you
That's
guys
where I just got
back
back from. I caught a couple 9-inch gills and a 14-inch crappie tonight. That's my PB crappie. That's a big one for me. But here in Iowa, we don't grow stuff insanely huge. So
I've never done it, but it's got to be fun.
It's fun. Yeah. I mean, well, I'll say this. If you have a hut and a heater, it's extremely fun. My old man used to take me out and plop me on a bucket when I was younger, and I froze my strawberries off, and I absolutely hated it. So yeah, get a hut and a heater.
And there's a big difference between ice making more ice and ice breaking. I've always been told the sound of ice breaking is like a freight train. Anything else, it's going to probably scare you and you might need to change your pants, but you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling being out on it. You hear the and then like kind of echo under you. It's like,
see, I'm just not used to it at all. We got a good taste of it though when we went to this New England fishing show last week. Yeah. That nor'easter hit us. We had 24 inches of snow right there. It was crazy. Ooh. All the lakes were froze up around us, and the parts of the rivers. It was crazy. I've never seen.
Yeah, that's DEBO. You've been going. Last couple of outings you guys went to was on backwaters on the Mississippi, right?
Yep. Backwaters of the Mississippi.
Yeah, I remember as a little kid, I used to. When the small town I grew up in, the river would freeze over, and we would literally cut across the river to save time. Rather than going out and around, we'd just be like, "Well, there's snowmobiles out there, so let's do it." Just
it's weird seeing a bunch of guys in trucks driving out too. Like, that's sketchy.
So you guys in the backwaters of the Mississippi, you've seen them drive vehicles out on it?
Oh yeah, I was just out last weekend, and they had trucks and 4-wheelers, snowmobiles. Yeah, it was probably 18 inches of ice, 20 inches of ice.
I think the craziest thing is when they have to lay like a 2x10 or like a 4x10 from the bank over to the ice, because there's still like open water right there for you to be able to gap it. And it's okay,
you wouldn't see me do that.
Yeah, I don't.
It happens all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, no, don't drive on that. Clear ice is the best ice.
Okay, let's see. So I'm going to purchase, after the show, I'm going to purchase this set of bearings. Since we've been talking about all the bearing stuff, I'm going to do a giveaway to someone. So I'm going to get that up here now. We've already been on for an hour, which I just checked the time, and I'm like, holy crap. I still have to clean fish. I couldn't believe we've already been on for an hour.
Yeah, man. Let's do a giveaway for some XERs, a 3-pack XERs.
Okay, let's do it here. Let's see. I will.
Debo, I expect to win a giveaway of a fish sandwich tomorrow at the ice fishing spot.
Dude, I ain't cooking. I'm barely gonna have enough time to get stuff cleaned.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, so we're gonna do hashtag bearing, and I'm gonna share here. Share screen, and we're gonna be on this one. Okay, so hashtag bearing. We'll get a pack of bearings out to someone. Here in a sec, we'll get it and make sure I am sharing. We are. Okay, so let's have a couple more questions. Whatever y'all have. If you have any questions for Scott, you've got something for me and Randy. I know tonight we really focused on kind of the whole bearing tuning and stuff, but it was a really good time to get Scott in here and ask these questions, somebody that does this stuff all the time. So I know we didn't kind of, get off on too many of our tangents or anything, but a very fun episode, Scott. Thank you for taking the time to share the info.
I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this for me has really, really been awesome. Just, again, going back to the bigger hammer type of guy, it really kind of opens up my eyes to see how, realistically, how easy it is to, flip this stuff out.
Yep. And I think that's the big thing. Just like any, kind of real work is, you're scared it's going to be a huge, endeavor to get into, but changing a few bearings isn't a bad deal at all.
No, it's not.
Let's see. We got people talking about ice fishing. What other questions do you have? Do you have anything for Scott? Anything else on reel tuning? What do we have here? I'm looking through, or anything. It can be anything for me and Dizzle. Whatever you guys and gals have. We'll give it a few minutes.
I've noticed a few people talking here, just like on, just how we were talking about different ice depths and things like that. And, you'll have your local DNRs come out with, different things of what's safe for what type of ice enjoyment. So I personally, I've been fishing on like 3 inches of clear ice where you catch a fish and you're watching it swim around underneath the ice. That was very sketchy. I probably would never do that again, but they're saying, you hit 8 to 12. And Debo, I know I talked to you a couple seasons back and I was trying to dig through. I had to fully extend my auger to the furthest point, and that had to have been 24 inches of ice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That is beyond safe.
Yeah. Last year. Yeah. 20, I think, what did they say? 20 inches to drive a truck on, something like that?
12 to 15 inches for a medium-sized truck.
Well, there you go. Yeah, we were at 20 inches last week, so that's why there were so many trucks and stuff out. Let's see. Lots of bearing. I got people talking about where they at.
There. Rob just asked if someone were to overlube the bearings.
Oh, yeah.
How would they fare? Guys, if you overlube the bearings, you're just going to slow them down a bit. Just through rotation and through centrifugal force with enough cast, you're going to get a lot of that oil out of there, and they're going to cast just fine again. But if you want to accelerate that, take that red can of brake clean, spray them out. Just spray those bearings out. You can hold the whole end cap up. You don't even have to pull the bearing out. Just spray it out, and it's going to clean them right out. And so, a lot of you guys are asking about sealed bearings for salt water. Go on the website, look at the XS. Those are sealed with stainless steel seals. They got the ribbon retainers in them, which is excellent for salt water. The XCR bearing, that peak material cannot rust. That's another good one for salt water. So XS or XCR would be the saltwater choices.
Yeah, I wouldn't think about that. The saltwater fishing in Iowa was pretty slow. So
yeah.
Nicholas was watching the Burley channel that I was on. He said, "Don't punch DEBO'S sandwich." They play a game where if you're eating a sandwich and you put your sandwich down, they can like squish your sandwich or something. And I'm like, dude, if anybody ever squished my sandwich, I'm punching you in the face. So yeah, if anybody gets around me, don't play the sandwich game with DEBO. I don't play that.
The only thing you eat when you're around me is B's and G's.
Biscuits and gravy.
Sandwiches.
Dude, I might stop and get biscuits and gravy tomorrow morning. If you come out tomorrow, I'll get you biscuits and gravy, Randy.
What time? I've sent you 87 texts asking time.
What else? Okay, I think we're at 130 entries. I don't see any more questions. Bearing stuff we already answered. Sealed for saltwater.
I saw
Yeah, a
someone
lot of
asked if
saltwater
we're going to be at the
questions.
Classic. Yes, we will be at the Classic.
At the Classic. And again, did you have and Anthony before said, do you have any bearings to replace people? The wife's grinding my gears. No, I don't think Scott has any bearings you can replace your wife with. Okay, well, let's draw a winner here real quick, and then we'll maybe see if there's any other sort of questions, and then we'll get out of here. I want to be respectful of everybody's time, Scott's time. I know you're an hour ahead, so I appreciate it, my friend.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's see. And I am sharing, right? Yeah, okay, we are sharing.
Yep.
So the lucky winner
Oh,
of a bearing
I didn't put my hashtag bearings in. Dang it.
Lil Tommy. Lil Tommy.
Congratulations, little Tommy.
Also a monster crappie on there, dude. Man,
Jeez.
everybody catching monster crappies. I can tell he's
I
in
wanna-
the cold. Oh, and I forgot to say, you have to be in here, to
yeah.
win, which everybody should know that by now. So, Lil
I wanna
Tommy,
catch a big crappie.
are you in here? I'm way behind on.
God, that thing's huge. Yep. I see him 843.
Let's go. He says,
Congrats.
all right, Lil Tommy, email me.
Yeah, tell him to
DEBO'S
email
Fishing.
you name, address, and all. We'll get him. And I'd love to know what kind of reel he's got.
Oh, okay. Well, Lil
And
Tommy,
we'll get
I
him
will-
taken care of.
Cool. Yep, I can do that. Lil Tommy, if you want to email me, DEBO'SFishing@gmail.com. Email me, and then just email me a screenshot of your YouTube so I know it's you. Because yes, crazy enough, I have had people trying to email me saying, "Oh, I won." Like, wait a minute, why did I get 4 emails saying people won? So, Lil Tommy, just
It's never
put a
been
screenshot
me.
of that. Yeah, it's always Randy.
And little Tommy, just tell DEBO'S what kind of reel you've got, and I'll get you an XCR kit headed your way. You'll have the best bearing in the world.
Cool.
Soon.
Thank you very much. Let's see. There was another question I wanted to get to. So we got the winner picked out. I just missed it. Where was it?
Dustin asked if we were talking about Casey's B's and G's. Yes, 100% Casey's B's and G's.
Here's interesting. Kind of off topic. Did Daiwa reels come? I think he's saying full of grease and lube. So I've actually had the exact problem, and I've had a couple other people say that. My Daiwa Tattoo Elite was bone dry. There wasn't a bit of grease anywhere in it, and I had to break it open and do all that. So I don't know.
Was
if
that the
anybody else
one?
remembers that.
We were out, and you were like, "This thing sounds terrible." Was that the same reel?
Yeah, it sounded horrible. It was so dry.
Yeah, it sounded like somebody trying to drive around with no brake pads on their brakes, and it's just metal on metal, kind of. Not to that extreme,
Yeah,
but
it
you
wasn't
know what I
that
mean, where it's like you shouldn't hear that sound coming out of there.
Right. That production's getting a little bit too quick, probably at that time, and some may have squeaked through without getting lubed.
Yeah, and nothing against Daiwa. I mean, I love Daiwa. Is it the Zillion?
The new Zillion. I love that reel.
SBTW. That's my favorite reel.
That new
Gramps is
silver.
I mean, I
into
wouldn't go that far.
It is
but
21 Zillion is one of my favorite reels, no doubt.
I agree. Favorite reel last year. Jeff Elliott with the $10 donation. Jeff, you didn't need to do that. Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate that. It's another good one, boys. Thank you. And I think, you know what? I think we're out of here. I don't know that there's been any other questions coming in. So, Scott, do you have anything? Where can people find you? Where are you going to be at soon?
Guys, we're going to be, our next show is going to be in Columbus, Ohio. We're going to be at the Columbus Fishing Expo. That's coming up the 11th through the 13th. And after that, we're going to be headed to the Greensboro Fishing Show in Greensboro, North Carolina. And after that's the Classic. So we got 3 more big shows planned for this year, and we're going to get back to our kitchen remodeling and get some things done around the house. We've been very busy this early spring, or should I say late winter.
midwinter.
Unfortunately, flips. Do upgraded bearings screw with the DC brakes?
No. Actually, the ceramic bearings make the DC system work better. So it enables that DC system to to work at its best. It really does. I can't stress that enough. You can go on our Instagram and you'll see a lot of the reels that we've done that are DCs, Metanium DCs, Corrado DCs, even Scorpion DCs. You'll see us casting and go way back, and you'll even see us taking a DC apart, putting the bearings in it.
Yeah,
So it enables that digital chip.
That, to be honest, and like the DC reels, that is a good question.
Yeah.
I got people asking about your website. I will link Scott's website below, and he does have, I think I still had the banner up, Spool 20. I'll leave that down below with the website. So he was nice enough. That was a spur of the moment thing. I didn't know about that. So Scott, thank you very much. But that's going to be 20% off if anybody uses the Spool 20 for anybody watching that has that. So I'll link all that down below. Very nice, you Scott. I appreciate that. And Chris Russ, another Iowa boy, said, "Can we get a down to the back end before we go?"
Down to the back end.
we were just talking about that before. Randy and I always crack each other up. Like, we'll throw a super long cast out and we'll almost spool it, and we'll always joke to each other, down to the back end, like Scott.
Hey guys, Scott, it's Spool High Speed Bearings.
That is exactly it. Yep. If you watch any of Scott's videos on Instagram, look up Spool Speed. He does a bunch of the cast and stuff.
TikTok has gone absolutely haywire. I mean, you would not believe the.
I don't mess up the
action on TikTok,
so I ain't touching that.
There are tons of fishing people on TikTok. Tons.
Oh, I know. I'm well aware. I can barely keep up with YouTube, Scott.
I know it. I know. Yeah, your YouTube is immense. It's big for you, no doubt.
That and Instagram. Yeah, it would be fine if I didn't work a full-time job, but kids, YouTube, it gets a little bit crazy.
It does. I can appreciate what you do, buddy.
Oh, dude, and we appreciate you as well. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Like I said, it's not always that I get somebody like you, from a company to get on. I might try to do this more, so instead of me, speculating on stuff, or, we actually get what do they call it, directly from the horse's mouth. So we know we can get the information and pick your brain. So,
well, you've been a very special customer to us over the years and a very special person. And I'm honored. It's a privilege to be on your show.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. And like I, told the story before, Scott's a good dude. If you have any questions, I'm sure now, like you said, he's probably busy. So he'll try to get to the questions and stuff. If he's like me, it might take a week or so on Instagram, but just search the stuff on there. Otherwise, if you have questions, I'm sure he'll try to get to it. So just be mindful. We are busy, but that's enough from us. We're getting out of here. Everybody, thank you for watching. And until next Saturday.